Yo, what's going on YouTube? Shouts out to Dante Box, Boxing Nation. He's like, you know, I'm gonna put a link in the description below, but man, he's interviewing, Kenny Porter regarding the GGG Gennady Golovkin versus Daniel Jacobs or Danny Jacobs fight. And man, this Kenny Porter, man, he's got a bad rep, man. He's got a bad rep. He's like, man, one of the biggest haters in boxing outside of Brian Jennings. I can't think of who else. I want to say maybe De La Hoya. But then again, when De La Hoya's, pouring a little salt or raining on somebody's party, and the backdrop of this whole story, you know what I'm saying? He does. I think he have like a legitimate gripe. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? As with Floyd and and Al Heyman and stuff like that, they got a lot of history. But yeah, man, I'm think Brian Jennings, man, because you know what I'm saying. He's with the most sour grapes. I can't think of anybody else. That's just like a pure hater, you know what I'm saying? As far as like with other boxers and stuff like that, I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head, but like Brian Jennings, but Kenny Porter, he like tops them all, you know. I mean, you put a you put a microphone in front of his mouth or something like that. You ask his opinion or something. He's always got like a negative spin on something, man. And I'm not the only one that said this in the YouTube boxing community, but because I read it on a comment before, like somebody mentioned like, man, this dude's like the biggest hater, So if I see it, I'm like, I know somebody else see it, and then somebody else pointed it out. So I'm like, man. But I mentioned this before. But anyway, long story short, he was analyzing the fight and everything like that. And sometimes it's best to keep sometimes it's best to be tactful. You know what I'm saying? To use tact. To use tact. I would say, man, some trainers do that. You know what I'm saying? Some boxing trainers are able to use tact. Maybe when he's not stirred up, Paulie Malignaggi or these other boxers, when they do like some color commentating on boxing matches and stuff like that, they're able to be tactful. You know what I'm saying? They able to give constructive criticism. You know what I'm saying? Or give a constructive analysis. Or maybe Teddy Atlas is a good example. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he can be overcritical sometimes, but he gives a good critical analysis of what's going on or what might have happened during the fight, and it sounds educated. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't sound like he's being a hater. Sometimes you hear sometimes with Teddy, he's being like a fanboy for the underdog or something like that. But it's all right. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, what's coming out of his mouth makes sense, right? but with Kenny Porter, man, it just sounds like a pure hater. Now going into this fight with Danny Jacobs and whatnot, right? Going into the fight, it was saying like, what was the narrative? Yeah, Danny Jacobs, Miracle Man, the man that overcame cancer and stuff like that. Now he's fighting, Triple G, heavy hitter. How can he, be afraid of Triple G when he's overcome cancer? You know what I'm saying? He the biggest battle of his life. You know what I'm saying? So I could be afraid of Triple G. But that don't matter with Kenny Porter. He had the nerve to get on Dante's Boxing Nation and saying that the man was pretty much scared of Triple G. Pretty much saying like when Danny Jacobs was pounding on his chest and all this other stuff during the fight, was that he was overcoming the fear of a bully. You know what I'm saying he was fighting scared. Which like Teddy Atlas says, like, man, if you don't have no little fear in you, something's wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? But you got to harness that fear and take control of it. And then so pretty much he was saying the dude like fought like he was scared and he was on the back foot all night, which that wasn't true. You know what I'm saying? And that he should have went all out and pressed the action some more, talking about how to Triple G out jab you and stuff like that. He outworked you. But if you think about it, could you have said the same thing about Triple G, who was coming forward all night, and then who was throwing all these jabs? The man threw like 100-something odd jabs from what I remember, which is kind of highly unusual in my opinion, because in the Kell Brook fight, it looked like he fought with reckless abandonment when Kell Brook was outboxing him. But like in the David Lemieux and the Danny Jacobs fight, all of a sudden this nice jab which Triple G has, you know what I'm saying? But it all of a sudden came out, Triple G ain't known for the jab. But the only difference between, other opponents and Lemieux, outside of Lemieux and Danny Jacobs, is that these guys got popped. Same thing with Curtis Stevens, he got popped. And it looked like he showed those guys a little bit more respect by throwing out the jab. So with him jabbing, why couldn't you just put his... you could say the same thing for Triple G and say like, oh man, Triple G looked like he was fighting scared. Why he throw so many jabs? Why not throw more power punches and get Danny Jacobs out of there? You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with Triple G? He's the boogeyman. He's the champ. He's got all the belts. He's blowing everybody out and whatnot. Everybody's supposed to be cowering to him and stuff like that. Like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? It was like, why all of a sudden you start using all these jabs and whatnot? But nah, man, Kenny Porter, he just had to come out as a hater, man. He just had to come out as a hater. And, just because you attack and you coming forward all day doesn't mean you ain't scared, man. A lot of people attack other people because they scared, even Mike Tyson, I could have sworn he said, man, he had to hype himself up, and because he was scared. This is a dude that didn't have no confidence in himself, and he had to boost himself up, psychologically before he even got into the ring. And a lot of people didn't even know this, about Mike Tyson. But anyway, man, I thought it was, in my opinion, I thought it was like kind of distasteful. If I remember, I'm gonna leave a link in the description below. But yeah, man, if you hear him, man, you're just gonna. And Dante Box Nation kind of agree with him a little bit. It's like, oh man, that kind of makes sense, but at the same time, you kind of sound like a hater. I'm saying that, he kind of sound like a hater. Then he's going to talk about, he's going to criticize Danny Jacobs for fighting in the southpaw stance, right? Talk about, the only reason he fought in the southpaw stance is to keep from getting knocked out. Oh, wow. Is that a crime? You know what I'm saying? To adjust. You know what I'm saying? If plan A don't work, you go to plan B. If plan B don't work, you go to plan C. So now the dude's a coward because he don't want to stay in the right hand stance, in the orthodox stance, to avoid getting knocked out. It's like, come on, man. It's like, this guy's funny, man. But so I guess that's how like Sean Porter, lost his 2 fights, is because He's a guy that goes all out uh, with plan A and has no plan B or C. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't know how to box or anything like that. You know. Yeah, man. Kenny Porter, man. That's why you don't see nobody in his corner, man. But Sean Porter. I don't see Kenny Porter training anybody else. He probably never will. Cause a lot of people don't like him, man. Cause dude's a hater, man. You know. You got a lot of people thinking Daniel Jacobs won the fight, but no, you had this dude has the nerves to make a hint that dude's is like a coward, and like he's fighting scared and stuff like that. Man, some people think it's like you have your own opinion and you might be going against the grain, but to me this sounds like a hater. But yeah, man, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. I catch y'all later. Bye.